Today uh, I I will discuss the results, or I will analyze the answers of CAT 2 exam. Uh, the first thing that I would like to say that in CAT 2 exam, some students they have scored 30 out of 30, whereas many students they have scored around 20 or 21, 22, like that. And some students they have scored very less, 13 to 15, like that. Now I would like to discuss that why some students have scored less. What I have noticed that in many cases the handwriting is almost incomprehensible. uh, I'm not asking for very neat and clean handwriting, but at least uh, it should be readable. But many students they have kind of handwriting which I cannot read it out. Okay, so that is a problem. This is one thing I have noticed. And another key point I have noticed, that is while writing the answers, you have not mentioned the point. For example, suppose I have asked for name the 4 stakeholders. There you should highlight the point, then you should write about the stakeholders' responsibilities. Or suppose I have asked for the 3 main defects. So first you should just write the defect, what is the name of the defect, then you should write the details about the defect. So those kinds of representation was missing. So one by one question I will discuss question wise. The first question was based on the case study, and the students who have got this question name 3 main defects. They are as mentioned earlier, that they have not mentioned the point. Those 3 defects are actually suppose the first one is no labeling for the sample boxes. Number 2 was upside down of the materials or of the items. And number 3 is long time spent in customer's office for not mentioning the packaging material. Now, whenever you will write these points, you should highlight the key words or key phrases. Either you should highlight the key words or key phrases, or you should mention it in the point, then you should describe it. But just pointing one and then if you describe it, or pointing two, if you mentioning just giving the number, then if you describe it, it becomes very difficult to understand that which point you are talking about, and it cannot be visible at a glance. So that is not a very good representation. So I think you should keep these things in your mind when you will attempt FAT exam. And another thing, I have become very astonished to see that some students, they have thought that defect means which particular information is not given in the case study, that they have considered as defect. But defect does not mean that. Defect means, here I am talking about the supply chain. What are the defects you have found in the supply chain? That is the defect. But you have some students, they have mentioned that what are the defects of the case study. That means what are the what information is not giving in the case study, that they have addressed. So that is very very surprised to see that. The second question, I mean, some students, they have got the questions, address 3 regulations of Eudralex in your own language. Most students, they have written it correctly, but some students, they have gone to the website of Eudralex, and what are the regulations are there, they have written from the from that. It's very, I'm very surprised to see that the 3 regulations that are mentioned in this case study, you will write those 3 regulations, but you have mentioned the regulations from the website itself. But I have given the instruction that you go through the case study and then you answer the questions. Okay, so this is also very interesting to note. Now the third question is, third means some other students, they have got the questions, name the 4 stakeholders involved. Name the 4 stakeholders involved in the sample supply chain process and also mention their roles. Now, I have not said, or I have not asked that name any 4 stakeholders. Okay, so you should mention all the 4 stakeholders. You should sum it up in such a way so that all the main 4 stakeholders are addressed in the answer. But some people have written like the first stakeholder is IPC, second stakeholder is quality design QD, okay, like that. But IPC or the QD, they all belong to a particular group which is called internal quality assurance cell. So basically the 4 stakeholders are, one is internal quality assurance or quality control team, the second is foreign trade office, third one is courier service, and fourth one is European community, who is your customer. But many students, they have written like without mentioning the internal quality control team or quality assurance team, they have broken it up into quality design or IPC control team. It's not correct, because those stakeholders belong to the same group. They are not the main 4 stakeholders, and I have not mentioned that any 4 stakeholders. I have not asked for any 4 stakeholders. So whenever I am asking that name the 4 stakeholders, so that means whoever belong to the supply chain, you need to address all the stakeholders in such a way so that if there are some stakeholders, you can group it, okay, and you can make it one single stakeholder. So that was also a drawback that I noticed. Anyway, I have not reduced the marks too much. Now the second question. Some students, they have got the question, categorize different types of forecasts by time horizon and give examples. This question has been almost 100% of the students, they have written it correctly. Next, the question is explain the advantage of exponential smoothing method over simple moving average and weighted moving average. This question also not been addressed properly. See, there are basically two questions. One is the advantage of exponential smoothing method over simple moving average. Another question is advantage of exponential smoothing method over the weighted moving average. So, but you have written all the definitions, like what is the definition of exponential smoothing method, what is the definition of simple moving average, what is the definition of weighted moving average. The question is not about the definition. The advantage of exponential smoothing method is that the weightage is given for the past data in such a way so that the weightage gradually reduces, and that's why in majority of the cases it actually enhances the accuracy in forecast. Okay, why? Because it is our common trend, or it is our common sense that the more recent data we will give higher weightage, and as we proceed more towards the past data we will give the less weightage. Okay, so but in case of simple moving average it is not done. In case of simple moving average it is just all the data is given the same weightage, and in case of weighted moving average all the data are not given the same weightage, but suppose 2 or 3 past data are given the same weightage and the rest of the earlier data are given the same weightage, whereas strictly speaking or ideally speaking this should not be the case. Okay, because you always want the recent data should be given the more weightage, and as you proceed towards the more past data, you will be giving less weightage. So that should have been highlighted in your answer, and also the diagram of the exponential, the weightage diagram that I have given in the slide, that should have been mentioned, that how the weightage is getting reduced in case of exponential smoothing average data. But what you people have done, you people have derived the equations of exponential smoothing method. Okay, that I have not asked for that. Now some students, they have got the question, describe the method of choosing the smoothing constant in exponential smoothing in terms of RMSE, that means root mean squared error. So most of the students, they have answered it correctly, but they have just from the PPT, they have one particular slide they have just copied, but they have not written it in their own language. So I have deducted some marks for that. And they have also not mentioned that this is the trial and error method they are using, which when I was discussing about this particular topic, I told you that here the trial and error method is used if you consider RMSE. So that trial and error method you have not used, or if in case of any kind of optimization thing is that you need to, then that also you need to address. So you have not addressed that. So that's why also marks have been deducted. Now come to the third question. The third question was, some students, they have got the question of weight epidemiologist. Okay, the regression equation. Here also some students, I have noticed that they did not find out the values of the coefficients. Okay, just they have drawn the graph and they have straightforward they have written the equation. Now the question is, from where they are getting the equation? Okay, you must as per the formula you must do the calculation, so that calculation has not been shown, so that's why the marks have been deducted. And some students, they have shown the calculation, but ultimately they have not addressed the equation. Whatever equations, regression equations you have got, that you need to see. So you have not mentioned that, so that's why marks have also been deducted. Now some students have got this question: explain the difference between errors and residuals in details. Here they have done the same mistake that they did in CAT 1. I told you that it is always better that parallelly you should compare. When you are in case of any comparison or difference, when you are addressing, you should parallelly compare the errors and the residuals. Otherwise it is not able, it is not possible that uh, how the comparison is going on. Okay. And many things they have written in errors and the residuals, which I think it will be better practice if they represent it parallel. And also in some cases they have not mentioned that we cannot find out the error at all, okay, in real life, unless we know the population mean. But in case of the residuals, the the observed value and the mean, the difference between the observed value and actual value, since we can observe, that's why residuals can be calculated. But in case of errors cannot be calculated in real life. Why? Because the true line, we have no idea about the true line, we don't know the true line. So what is the difference between the actual value and your the predicted value based on the true line, that we cannot, we do not know. So uh, so now some students, they have got the questions: mention why adjusted R square is preferred over R square. This question has most of the students, they have answered it correctly. Okay. So this was the discussion about the CAT 2 exam, and I think that the students will learn a lesson from it who have got less marks, and they will try to rectify it in the FAT exam. Okay. So thank you all.